Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the guests and hosts of this show are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the company or the show itself. The discussions and statements made during this program are intended for informational purposes. Listeners are encouraged to critically evaluate the content and form their own opinion.
Hello once again, Explora Bookworms. Welcome to another program of Explora Talks where we explore and talk books. And as we often promise to you, we're going to dive deep into another book that we're going to discover and truly uncover what this book is about. And I'm sure all our book lovers out there will be very much excited to get a copy of the books. These books are Explora books, published or soon to be published books, and we're going to expose them right now in this program. Now, as I promised, we're going to talk to an author who has written a beautiful book. This is a mind-opening, a very thought-provoking book that is going to open our hearts, our minds, and our soul to the realities of life. And we're going to talk about the struggles, the challenges, the obstacles that she faced in her life. And we're gonna talk to inspiration and a motivational book that is going to excite everyone and all our book lovers out there. And I'm talking about the author of the book, The Things I Carry. Please welcome to the program, Ms. Jannis Milhouse. Hello, Jannis. Welcome to Explora Talks.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you for having me. I am so happy for having this interview today.
All right, we're so happy as well. Thank you for heeding to the invitation, Janice. We're thankful that you're here with us, spending time to talk about your book. Now, The Things I Carry, I think that there is a lot of weight in this very intriguing title. But before we talk about the book and your inspiration about the book, Janice, tell us about what you've been doing. What was your career, or what is your career if you're doing something at these days? Walk us through your background.
Okay, well, currently I am caregiver for my mother. She has dementia, so that is my job. And I haven't worked since 2018 on someone else's job, let's say that. At first, it felt like a duty, and it does. So, I'm just feeling my way through. It's not like I am versed with the skills that it takes to give care for someone with dementia, but I'm doing the best I can.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's very noble because some of in an American setup, as we know, sometimes we just forget about our parents and live our own lives and not take care of them or maybe put them in a shelter for the aged. So but you took care of your mom, and that really speaks volumes about your character. I'm so proud of that for doing that.
Well, Joel, when we were growing up, I have one sister and four brothers. And so during the course of us growing up, my dad would say something every so often. He'd say, one mama can have six children, feed them, clothe them, teach them. He said it would be a shame if six children couldn't take care of one mama.
That's
And
right.
so, him saying that as we were growing up didn't really carry a lot of weight. But as I grew older, I saw what Dad was telling us. So trying to
Wow.
honor that.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I know God sees you and everything you do. And it's gonna, you're gonna have your reward for sure from God for doing that. What a noble, noble act from a daughter. But now let's talk about The Things I Carry. And what's amazing, Explora Bookworms, Janice has actually written a lot of books. There's a bunch of them. And when I asked her a while ago, she couldn't count them. Maybe around 8 or 9, we don't know. But let's talk about The Things I Carry and her books right now. So The Things I Carry, what is this book about, Janice? Tell us about this.
Well, the title is the total sum of my life. I carry a lot. I am 21 years a widow. I've had to raise three children on my own.
Mm-hmm.
At the time that their dad died, my daughter was 12, my
Mm-hmm.
oldest son was 6, a week
Mm-hmm.
before his 7th birthday, and 4.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I've had to learn how to pivot
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways, through heartbreak,
Mm-hmm.
through stumbling and falling, just a lot of lessons. So I carry a lot, the things
Mm-hmm.
I carry. And it's
Wow.
just stories about life,
Mm-hmm.
how I've lived it, how I've tried to navigate it, and how I've
Mm-hmm.
tried to be um, wisdom for my children. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
How to teach them to go through hard things and
Mm-hmm.
still make it, how to be resilient. I know it
That's right.
hurts, but it's gonna get better. So
Wow, amazing. Now, all of us humans, we go through life with a lot of burdens and we have struggles, but what makes your struggle different? I mean, what kind of weight do you carry? What does this book really expose? There are parts of this book for sure that really talks very much about your life. What was the most pivotal moment of your life that is written in this book?
dementia.
Of
Because the
course.
book came around because I needed an escape from dementia. It's
Mm,
like uh, dementia is like chaos all the time.
mm, yeah.
There's no, it's just chaos all the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I needed to find a way
mm-hmm,
to get away and still be very present.
mm-hmm,
So, and I'm grateful that I use the medium of writing
mm-hmm.
to explore it. But
Yeah.
yeah, dementia, I would say, was the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, a lot of people who are, who suffer with, any kind of illness, sometimes they don't want to expose it because, because of shame and whatnot, right? And some of them become a taboo. That's the worst thing. So we are not able to understand the lives that these people live. And you have written it there. You bravely showed everyone what life is to become a widow and raising 3 children and the struggles of dementia. This is something that everyone would see from a third person, from another person's perspective. At the same time, those people who also struggle from the same kind of challenges and issues. Now, I'm sure that this is something that could relate all our Explora bookworms out there. You can relate, and at the same time, if you cannot relate to the story, you can learn to understand. It's a path to understanding other people who suffer the same. Now, this, by the way, this book, Explore Bookworms, The Things I Carry, has 4 volumes. Am I right, Janice?
In 5 volumes.
5 volumes. All right, five
Yes.
volumes. So, can you talk to us? What is in volume 1 until volume 5? Are
All right.
these different stories or
They
similar
are different
stories?
stories. Volume 1 and 2 are stories told in poetry.
Mm-hmm,
Volumes 3, 4, and 5 are stories. I do a lot
mm-hmm,
of storytelling, and the
mm-hmm,
stories, because the dementia caused me to lean more on my faith.
mm-hmm,
I spent more time in God's ear, praying and just
mm-hmm,
asking for wisdom and guidance and how in my walk.
mm-hmm,
So a lot of most mornings I'm up at 4:30
mm-hmm,
praying.
mm-hmm,
And that's when I would get my best revelations. So
mm-hmm.
I just kept it going. Um,
Wow.
I'd have vivid dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a wonderful time with God. And I love it.
Wow,
I
these are
love it. And
reflections. Yeah.
yeah, so volume 1 and 2 are stories within poetry,
Mm-hmm.
and 3, 4, and 5 are storytelling. And I'm basically in the dementia when things came up, it was a lot of therapy going on because when
Mm-hmm.
things came to the surface, I had to explore it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very therapeutic for me. And I believe
Mm-hmm.
that those things that were hidden in my psyche just gave me more freedom to uh, cut generational curses. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It
Mm-hmm.
gave me the freedom to abandon old. I, I, it was a
Yeah.
good experience for
Yeah.
me, and
Of
I'm
course. Of
sorry if
course.
I'm rambling here. I don't mean
It's
to.
okay. So, this is a myriad of experiences that you have, you've been to. Now, talk to us about who are the audiences for this book? Who do you want to speak to in this book?
Okay, well, I believe that we all share a human experience, and
Mm-hmm.
if something doesn't touch your life, uh, doesn't immediately touch your life, you know someone who this instance has touched. So everybody's going to deal with grief
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
death and loss and love and
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness. These are the themes that I touch on in my
Mm-hmm.
books. Because like if it doesn't touch you firsthand, you're going to know
Mm-hmm.
someone who does.
Yeah.
So I just believe that everyone in some way or another will be able
Mm-hmm.
to relate to the things I talk about in
Mm-hmm.
the things I carry.
Wow, wow, that's beautiful. Let me take a break, Janice. Can we have the charger, please, plugged in? Because my laptop seems to tell me that it's running out of battery. But let's go
Okay.
back to our conversation now. Janice, this is a beautiful book that you've written. Now I want to talk about what you said here. It says here that through these pages, I invite you to walk alongside me, to witness the kaleidoscope of human existence, and perhaps to find echoes of your own experiences within these narratives. It is my fervent hope that in sharing these stories, we may find common ground, kindle empathy, and celebrate the shared human experience that unites us all. And I love it when you mention about empathy. I just watched Straw. Straw is a new Netflix series, and it's,
I
you
saw it.
know, yes, and we saw that. It seems to me that maybe in some ways we're you been through the same issues, problems. It may not be specifically with
Right.
poverty and but it could be the struggles of especially with raising a child. And for you, there were three of them. How hard was it to raise alone three children in your case?
Yeah, it was challenging because I wanted to raise my children in a way that honored my husband. Because,
Mm-hmm.
before we started having children, we talked
Mm-hmm.
about what going down that road would be and how our
Mm-hmm.
lives, how we'd want our lives to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Not anticipate. And my husband was 5 years younger than me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
him dying at the ripe young age of 34 was just not in our
Mm.
plan. It wasn't in our. But
Yeah,
speaking of empathy, you never know what someone is going through.
yeah.
So it's my thought that we should treat people with care all the
Mm-hmm.
time because
Mm-hmm.
people don't always talk about the things that are bothering them, or if they're having a challenge in the moment, they don't normally talk about that. And
Mm-hmm.
so why make it harder by being, rude or obnoxious or
Mm-hmm.
uncaring?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wanted to speak about the empathy because we need that. Everybody needs that in our lives.
Right.
You may
And
not be going through the same thing that I'm going through, but you might have empathy for me having gone through it.
wow, that's amazing. And that breeds to, humanity. We're able to, sparking hope for humanity because as humans, as children of God, we need to be understanding to others and be able to step on their shoes, and
Absolutely.
sometimes if you do not go through the same experience, you do not understand, you will never understand how these people react. It's the
Right.
reaction, and the actions of other people. Sometimes it's so hard to get into their shoes. If, why are they doing this? Why are they acting like this? Right? These are questions that sometimes pops up our head, and we never get to truly empathize their situation. And maybe they're going through a mental illness.
Right.
That Straw movie in Netflix, which is actually viral nowadays, really talks about the mental, it could lead to mental illnesses when you lose a child, and being empathetic as well, because at the start of the show or of the movie, it actually shows people who were just against, everything was just against, everyone were against her, and
Right.
you know nobody ever understood her until one day, a fateful, robbery happened, and
Mhm.
it blew up, right? And at the end of the day, we realized that there are still people who are actually understanding of other people's situation. What do you think of humanity nowadays, Janice? Having written this book, do you think that there is still hope for humanity to truly understand other people, especially wars? And there's actually when you watch the news nowadays, between Iran and Israel, there's war going on. It actually is the root of all this is actually misunderstanding and lack of empathy,
Absolutely.
right? What do you
Absolutely.
think could be, what can you say about that? The lack of empathy and understanding.
I think that as long as there is hope and love, I think that we can get through all the murk and mire of misunderstanding.
That's true.
But we have to have people who come to the table wanting to find a solution rather than be a problem.
Hmm.
So it's a slippery slope in
Hmm.
today's political landscape, but I have hope. And
Hmm.
I really want my children to grow up in a world that is empathetic and that
That's
is
true.
caring and that is understanding of our differences. And not only understanding, but are that try to champion the things that
Hmm.
make us different.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The things that make us different make us all stronger. Because if
Wow.
I'm weak in one area and you're strong in another area, I can lean on your strength
Yeah.
and become stronger. And,
Wow.
it's just, I have hope.
Wow.
I have
That's a
hope.
that's very beautiful, and it really is very mind-opening. Now, I want to talk this time, Janice, about your other books, From a Note to a Novel. Can we talk very briefly about that? How did you come up with that book?
I was told that maybe I shouldn't have had the title From a Note to a Novel because
Okay.
it's a very quick read.
Mm.
Um, but it's me exploring my feelings and jotting them down on paper and just sharing
Mm.
my life with others. I mean, strength and weakness is my surrendering to God. This is too much for me. I'm
Mhm.
not strong enough for this, but me and
Mm.
God is a winning team. I've always had
Wow.
that thought. Me and God is a winning team. So if I don't give up and then if I can lean on Him, then
Mm.
I can't lose. I can't lose.
Mm.
So, yeah. So it
Wow.
brings us to the things I carry. And I didn't realize how much I was carrying because it
Hmm.
just continued to flow up out of me. And
Wow.
it's a beautiful thing.
Wow. The
And
the nice thing about,
I really
yeah.
do hope that the viewers will be open minded to my perspective
Mm.
in the things I carry.
Wow, that's beautiful. So this is not only a in exposition of your experience. And ladies and gents, for those who are watching us right now, it's not just an expose of one's life, but it actually is an inspiration, spiritually driven book that can actually, bring your faith up. It can strengthen your faith, and faith holds
Absolutely.
us up together. Without faith, we will falter and we'll never be able to get back. So that's one of the lessons right there. So get a copy now of The Things I Carry, Volume 1 to Volume 5, now available on Amazon, Google Books, and other leading digital bookstores. Janice, thank you so much. Do you have any parting words, like a challenge, for example? Just a challenge for our viewers right now. Especially that you've written a book that is very motivating and inspiring. What is that? If you encapsulate your message into just a few phrases, what would be that message to everyone? A challenge to everyone.
I would challenge everyone to lean on their faith. I mean, I don't know how anyone goes through anything without consulting God in the middle of their going through.
Mhm.
But I would say get a relationship if you don't have one, and then maintain it in prayer and just
Mhm.
watch your life explode, in the most positive way.
Wow, that's beautiful. Everything is rooted in faith. Thank you so much, Janice, for your time and being with us here. Again, The Things I Carry. If you want a motivational, inspirational story that is one of a kind, for those widows out there, for those who carry a lot of burdens, raising children, those who have a lot of obstacles in life, whether it be about finances, about relationships, for example, all of those things that we carry, you will have a self-help book, a perfect self-help book right there by reflecting on the life experienced by Jannis Milhouse. And your pen name, by the way, how do you pronounce the pen name of this book, Janice?
Sinaj.
Sinaj.
And
How?
if you
Yeah.
if you pay attention, that it's my first name spelled backwards.
Oh, okay. I thought this was a Hebrew word or somewhere from the Bible, but it's Sinaj, all right? She just
Yes.
reversed the name Janice. So Sinaj, if you want to grab a copy of this book, you can get a copy right there at the link below, the captions of this YouTube video or Instagram or Facebook video, or you can also scan the QR code that is displayed on the screen right now. Use your phones and just grab a screenshot of the QR code that appears on this video that will link up to the Amazon or the Google Books link of The Things I Carry. Once again, Janice, thank you so much, and we're very glad and honored to have you with us here in the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
And lastly, Janice, before I go, I'd like to know from you, how was the experience with Explora Books been like so far?
It's been quite good. Um, I've learned so much, and just the first talks with Michael Ross were mind blowing. It's been a very good encounter, and I'm looking forward to exploring more with Explore Books.
Thank you so much, Janice. And we thank you for trusting Explora Books to publish this book, The Things I Carry. And our commitment is to make sure that this story goes to, as far as possible. All right. Thank you so much, Janice, for your time. Goodbye for
Thank
now.
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. There you go, Jannis Milhouse, the author of The Things I Carry. What an inspirational woman, a very empowered woman she is. We just talked to her, and her life is really a reflection of how empowered she is. Hoping that you guys would grab a copy of her book, because this is truly one of a kind, and it actually opens hearts and minds and makes you even more empowered. For all women out there, and even men, every one of us who carry the weight, the burden of living a life that is full of obstacles and challenges. This book is all for you. Again, that's available on Amazon, in Google Books, and all leading digital bookstores worldwide. And Until next time, guys, we're gonna interview our next author in our next episode. We hope to see you again next time. Goodbye for now. This has been Joel, your host for Explora Talks, where we explore and talk books. See you next time.